Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships for our annual tradition of doing a full overview of the Black Friday event, this being Black Friday 2024 event. Please use the timestamps below. I think I'll try to remember to pin in the comment as well. And you can just see here in the video description along the bottom. Skip around to the parts that you feel are most relevant to you. I'm going to do my best to keep this video underneath 30 or roughly 30 minutes. I actually recorded a full-blown video, but it was too long and I felt like I had too many inconsistencies. So I'm going to try to do it in a more refined version for you guys today. So that's being said, let's just dive right into the Armory. As you can see, Turpit's Black here as an example, a little bit of a fun ship here in the game. So if you're newer to World of Warships, every year Wargaming does the Black Friday event here in the game. Now they've done a few different things different this year, which I think is a little more confusing. They've separated, it used to be all, I think, just one window in the Armory where you could scroll through and look at everything Black Friday event related, if I remember correctly. This year they have 3 tabs within the specific Black Friday event. And then on the featured tab in the Armory, they have a separately designated area for the Black Friday event here as well. So I'm going to get into that, but first what we're going to need to do, this is probably, maybe you guys think it's too much, but there's actually some really key information here in the Black Friday, the about of the event. So I just want to reference it here with you. I won't read everything word for word, but there's just some important information here. So the Legendary Black Fleet now boasts 30 ships in its rank. And you have the legends of the Black Fleet, being the Massachusetts Black, the Jean Bart Black, and the Alaska Black, and the Asashio Black. Please note that their standard counterparts are rare guests in our store, and they are not currently available for purchase. So these are kind of the, I would say, the foremost known Black ships in the game. So what they've done with these Black Friday ships is basically they take premium ships in the game and they make a black version of it and giving it a really cool permanent black camouflage with typically some type of chrome characteristics on the ship that make it look really cool, essentially. So it's also, they give you, if you purchase one of these black ships and you already have their standard counterpart, or vice versa, you'll also receive a special combat mission for doubloons, coal, or free XP as a reward. So let's say if, like as an example, let's say I had Turpits and I got Turpits Black, then I'm going to get a special combat mission that will give me rewards, or apparently vice versa. So if I already have a Black Friday ship, like let's say I already have Turpits Black, but I don't have Turpits and I go buy Turpits, then I'll also receive a special combat mission. And you can find more detailed information here. The newcomers of the event and standalone bundles are the Brisbane, the Azuma, and the Alabama. And then you can only get the Tier 7 Munchen in a sequential themed bundle. If you obtain any of the new black ships, you also unlock a combat mission featuring the ship's commemorative flag as a reward. So we'll look at that. They also have Black Friday premium containers, and then they have just Black Friday containers. So there's a difference there. I'll cite that just so that you guys are aware and don't confuse them, because there's definitely vast differences between the standard Black Friday containers and the Black Friday premium containers. This year they made a change. The containers no longer include ships below Tier 8. A random black ship of Tier 8 or higher may drop from the container with a drop chance of 12%. For the standard containers, it's 0.4%, as in less than 1%. So really hard to pull a ship from a standard Black Friday container. When purchasing containers for real money, you'll receive a bonus. Black Friday tokens, see below what they can be used for. So this is kind of why they've changed the things in the Armory, because as far as I remember, we didn't have Black Friday tokens in the 2023 event. This is a new thing that Wargaming's doing and monetizing the game. And then they have sequential bundles. Of the 4 newcomers, you can get the Munchen Black and a lot of other rewards and bundles along the way. And then they have this monochrome thing. We'll talk about it as well. You can basically, when it's mounted, the effect is assigned to that ship and will display a unique destruction animation when you sink an opposing enemy aircraft carrier, battleship, cruiser, destroyer. Note, it doesn't include submarines. Items for Black Friday tokens. They have this temporary resource throughout the event. When you purchase bundles for Black Friday 2024 premium containers for real money, so this is not for doubloons, but for real money, you exchange these tokens for themed commanders, patch backgrounds, so on and so forth. Also, something that will give you a 30, 50, or 80% discount on one of 3 premium ships, the Huron, San Diego, or the Dupleix. Compensation will not be provided for any unspent Black Friday tokens once the event ends. So make sure you spend those if you spend any real money on buying any Black Friday resources. So I'm going to start with the Future tab with the Sequential bundle here. I'll try to compare it to the cost of last year's. I try to give a contrast to see, is the price increasing? Is it decreasing? The price tends to change depending on how many bundles they have. So this year we have 21 bundles as a whole. So I could actually click here right on Munchen B and say the cost of all the bundles is 10,039 doubloons. So you have to go through each bundle to get to the Munchen Black. So you have, this is an example of the normal Black Friday container. You can see the guaranteed drop rate is 600. Okay, pretty rough. Here's a premium container, standard drop rate of 15. And the rewards you get are much higher chance and much better rewards here as a whole. So just make sure you note that there's a difference between these two containers, and don't get all excited because it's a vast difference between the ships as a whole. So I'm going to back out. I want to come back into here. So you can see Black Friday containers, and what they're doing here, Wargaming's being a bit cheeky, if I'm being honest. It's different ways of monetizing. They can try to lure you into spend more money, where you alternate between spending doubloons to credits, or for free, right? Doubloons for free. Doubloons for free. Doubloons for free, right? So they keep doing that as a way to get you to continue to, it's like, well, I've already gotten this far, maybe I'll go ahead and buy this. Okay, so just be mindful of that, that you don't necessarily fall into that. Now, granted that this is a tier 7 ship that you're effectively spending over 10,000 doubloons for, but you're getting a lot of good rewards, so to speak, here in the game, and some gotcha containers that will give you a chance of dropping a ship or not. So just keep that in mind. Upon getting the Munchen Black, it has that's some things to say. Let's say you already had the Munchen Black in your port. You were going to receive 2,999 doubloons as compensation, but it's just brand new, so not sure about that. A special combat mission: if you receive a black ship while you have her standard counterparts, let's say you had this, the Munchen, or you become the owner of her counterpart after obtaining a black ship, this is where the vice versa is, before the event ends, you'll also obtain a special combat mission. It can be completed playing both ships, and you'll bring you doubloons, coal, or free XP as a reward. You can find a detailed information about the conditions and the rewards for particular ships here. So I'll try to put that on the screen. It's kind of weird that it's not labeled outright here, because in the past it has been. So if I need to kind of interject a different commentary, I will, but otherwise it's just going to be on the screen here for you to look at. Okay, then here you see the 3 ships they're offering: San Diego, Huron, and the Dupleix. These 3 ships, to give you my very brief thoughts on, San Diego is a tier 8 American light cruiser with SAP and high explosive is what it should be, with having 127mm guns. So she's okay. I don't think it's necessarily she's a fantastic ship, nor do I think she's a bad ship. It's an okay. It just depends on if you like playing tier 8 cruisers in the game or not. Huron I have, it's okay. It kind of reminds you of a tier 7 Kolsek, so to speak. If I can see the ship in port. Okay, I don't know how. Oh, here it is. It's like, where did that go? Granted that Kolsek, you know, they have the kind of same 8-gun setup. If you like Kolsek, you might like Huron. It's okay. I don't think there's necessarily anything amazing about the ship. It's just got 1 torpedo rack. It's got a short-range hydroacoustic search. It should have. At least when I look at her consumables here, it should just be a 3-kilometer hydro. She's okay. This ship, I don't think it's an amazing ship. It's just a kind of a large tier 6 French cruiser with 2 and 3 millimeter guns. And then when you look at her armor, I mean, it's pretty weak. I mean, it's a tier 6 ship with a pretty massive citadel. To each their own. So that's the kind of the 3 ships they're offering if you use the Black Friday event tokens for with the coupon. I'll show you what that looks like here in just a moment. You also have the return of the Jack-O-Lantern premium containers in different bundles, where you get a bonus amount of containers and not giving you a discount rate, just like you'll get. If you buy 40, you'll get an additional 10. You buy 20, you'll get an additional 4. If you buy 1, you get or 10, you get an additional 1. So they're basically enticing you to spend more money here in the game. What these offer is permanent camouflages or a special commander, and then or one of the items from the following list. Now the guaranteed drop rate is of 32. So this is actually really funny. When I was going through this earlier, I laughed. So if you read carefully, you're guaranteed to find an item from the permanent camouflage group in the 33rd container. So it's supposed to say 33rd. So I kind of laughed like a child coming across this. So it's kind of funny. I think they just copied and pasted from one of the other items, like where it's guaranteed drop rate on the 15th container. So someone was just kind of lazy being copy and pasting, I think. So 33rd container. But what you get here is kind of these fun permanent camouflages. Like I had the one for Shikaku, even though I don't really play. I don't think I even have Shikaku. But it looks pretty cool, right? So that's where you might see, like you see players with the Montana, the Crocosaur one, and that's where they get them from, these containers. Or you have commanders to pick up as well, and just somewhat decent rewards there. Then you'll have some things you can pick up here each day. Daily essentials for 150 doubloons. Probably coal's the best one you can get here. And you have daily ritual, so you'll get some free rewards here logging into the game every day. Now, on to maybe more of the main event here. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the containers now. So they don't list the normal Black Friday standard containers alongside the Black Friday premium containers. I've kind of already referenced that difference earlier, but just note that the premium containers have a higher chance of dropping ships, 12%, versus the 0.4%, so less than 1%. The standard containers have a guaranteed drop rate in 600. I think these are 15. Okay, so Black Friday containers, you can buy them for either cash or you can buy them for doubloons. It's up to you. If you have a lot of doubloons in the game, then make sure to come over to the Black Fleet for doubloons, or just use cash here. Now note, you can see the difference when I hover over this. It doesn't show me this, the bonus, the Black Friday tokens, right? This is kind of their other way of more gotcha moves as example. So you can see as you go up, it gives you an increased number of these Black Friday tokens, which you spend in the Captain's Choice. So I'll talk about this in its own separate segment, but just note that the Black Friday tokens come by spending real money in the game, not by spending doubloons in the game. So they kind of did this inception layer of monetizing the event, and you can even see that these don't have the tokens sitting next to them like they do here. Now, as I said, these have a guaranteed drop in 15. So upon opening the 15th container, you're guaranteed to pull a ship from the category here. If you don't pull a ship, then you're going to get one of the following items from the list, being credits, free XP, Fleet Commander XP, or bonuses. If you already have all the items from these containers, then you'll receive 2,500 doubloons as a whole. So just keep that in mind. Now, the big thing I want to say about these containers is this. I see it happen every single year for the last 5 years I've been playing World of Warships. Well, I don't know if they had it 5 years ago. I think they started maybe Black Friday in 2020. I can't remember. You might see someone, maybe a clanmate, a guy on a WoW's Facebook group, a YouTube content creator who buys 10 of these containers and he pulls 3 ships. And then you buy the same bundle of 10 containers thinking you're also going to pull 3 ships. And you don't. You don't even pull, maybe you only pull 1 or you don't pull any at all, right? It's going to vary from person to person because of the guaranteed or the drop rates, right? So don't get excited and get kind of caught up in what you see other players, if they're pulling 3 or 4 ships from 10 containers alone, having that same expectation and you only pull 1 or none. So just be aware, this is kind of where the gambling characteristics of this game come into play, and like other games as well. So don't just get caught up in that. Just be mindful. If there's a ship that you're really wanting, all these ships are available for money. And I'm going to talk about that because Wargaming did something quite crappy this year compared to previous years. They're all available for money here in the game, or most are available for doubloons. Just buy the ship outright if there's something that you're really wanting, because then it's a 12% chance of pulling a ship, and then you got to compare it to all the other tier 8 or higher ships here of, okay, then which one am I going to get out of that second draw, so to speak. So just be mindful of that. It'll do you good. It'll serve you well. Okay, so let's talk about the new ships on the block this year. Let me go ahead and give you my thoughts on them. I'll try to be concise and short on that. So starting with the Brisbane Black. Brisbane is available in the Armory for 252,000 coal, or alternatively, you can pick her up with the coupon for less than 200,000 coal. I don't think there is kind of this huge thing where maybe one should spend the amount of money unless you're like a whale. Because, I mean, all you're getting, the only thing that's different is just the fact that it's got this fun Damascus steel permanent camouflage, which I quite like the camouflages this year. So if you spend real life money, it's $118, or for doubloons, it's $29,650. So then what this ship has is standard damage control party, a specialized repair team, high acoustic search, and surveillance radar. So if you like the Minotaur, you have the Minotaur, the tier 10 light British cruiser, you might quite like the Brisbane Black. Where these ships differ is in a few areas. Brisbane Black has radar and hydro, where Minotaur is either smoke or radar, right? And then has a hydro slot. And then you also have the difference in the radar range. Brisbane is a 12-kilometer radar. Minotaur is a 10-kilometer radar. You have here on the Brisbane, you get high explosive shells. I think their penetration values are different with the armor piercing. So you have high explosive and armor piercing here on the ship. I think the reload value is slightly different as well. These are 10 152 millimeter guns. And then the other difference is in her torpedoes. Minotaur gets 16 10-kilometer range torpedoes. Brisbane gets 20 13.5 kilometer torpedoes. And I think these hit a little harder. Maybe it's the same. I don't remember. So that's really where the ships differ. So Brisbane relies much more on smoke, islands, because you're going to be playing more out in the open, right? And then her range is 15.8. I think that's the same as Minotaur. So overall, I quite like Brisbane. I'm not enough to spend 24,000 doubloons or whatever on. I just spend the coal by earning in-game resources. I do recommend her, but I don't think I can really recommend paying that amount of money for just the black variant of her. Then you have Azuma Black for $65.61 or 16,350 doubloons. So what she has to offer is, in terms of consumables, damage control party, hydro defensive AA, spotting aircraft, and repair party. This ship, if you already have Azuma B in your port, you'll get 16,150 doubloons as compensation. And then if you have, did they even cite, the special combat mission, which I've cited earlier there as well. So for the Azuma Black, my thoughts on the ship, I don't recommend it. I have Azuma. I bought her when she was free XP in the game. That's right, free XP, back when free XP ships existed here in World of Warships. And she, I think, was a lot better back in the day. In the current meta, I don't think she's really good. She has pretty poor angles. She's a kiting cruiser. She's honestly not even a mid-range cruiser. She's a long-range cruiser, like playing 15 kilometers and back. She basically has these 9, 3, and 10 millimeter guns that have somewhat poor firing angles, depending on whether you're going in or you're kiting. She's quite large. She has 58,350 hit points before super survivability expert, excuse me. But she's coated in 25 and 27 millimeter armor. As soon as you show broadside, oh boy, will you be citadeled. So with a lot of the overmatch in the game, it's hard for me to recommend this ship for you guys to buy. I think Yoshino at tier 10 would be a better example because you get torpedoes with her and more hit points, and being that she's a tier 10 cruiser. So I don't really recommend the Azuma, if I'm being honest. Alabama you can pick up for $34.99 or 8,750 doubloons, depending on which you prefer. I have the standard version of Alabama. So what would happen is you get, again, the special combat mission. If you already have Alabama Black in your port, you would get 8,540 doubloons if, per se, you picked her up from a container or something as an example. Concealables, standard damage control party, repair party, then spotting aircraft or fighter. Now the ship, I do recommend Alabama in the sense of if you like playing a tier 8 battleship that has good guns. Alabama, if I remember right, she's a South Dakota class battleship, so she's a copy and paste of Massachusetts, except Alabama is all about her main battery, where Massachusetts is all about her secondary battery. So basically with these guns, you get a 21.1 kilometer, where I think Massachusetts is like 18.3. A much more accurate main battery guns with these 9406s. Decent, good AA. The survivability is going to match 63,300 as well. So if you like playing a tier 8 battleship, then I would say you probably like playing Alabama. She feels quite similar to North Carolina at tier 8 in the tech tree, as an example. So to each their own. But I quite like what's going on here with the Alabama, and they did some nice work with that Damascus steel, that black variant of the ship. Now the Munchen, we've already talked about that. That's here. I don't know a lot about the ship. She was kind of fun to take in Narai when it used to only be tier 7. So for commanders who are more familiar with the ship, please comment below your thoughts here with the German cruiser. Now, I'm going to tell you about the crappy thing that Wargaming did. So here you can see the legends, the most popular ships probably of the Black Friday event. The Jean Bart B, the Massachusetts B, the Alaska B, and the Asashio B. If you come to the Black Fleet for doubloons, they're not here. That's right, folks. You cannot buy those 4 ships for doubloons here in the game. Now, when I came across this, I was like, am I blind? Am I missing it? Because last year in the 2023 event, they listed these 4 ships for doubloons. So I can tell you, as an example, because I cover this event every single year, the Jean Bart was 16,550 doubloons. The Massachusetts B was 9,050 doubloons. Alaska B was 16,350 doubloons. And Asashio was 6,650 doubloons. And they completely, just removed them, the purchase option for doubloons. Now, the reason why I think this is crappy is because I think, if it impacts your plans, you're a player in the game, you've been saving up doubloons, because you can earn doubloons, right, for super containers, other various game events. Maybe you buy doubloons on your birthday for, let's say you bought 25,000 doubloons on your birthday. You get this coupon for 7 days that doubles whatever you buy, and then you'd get 50,000 doubloons effectively, 25,000 plus 25,000. This year Wargaming completely removed that option on these 4 ships. What they've done, because they know that these are legends, really good ships in their game. So they don't want doubloons. They want money. Like, if, let's say, for example, you were saving up doubloons, you've kind of been earning doubloons in the game for free. They don't want to let these ships go that's in favor for you as the player. they want to only let these ships go if you spend real money on them here in the game. So in my opinion, this is quite crappy of wargaming, and it's quite greedy of wargaming. And honestly, it doesn't surprise me at this point. There's always a but, typically, with wargaming. And how they are cheeky, they're greedy. They don't... it's like they don't always have the player's best interests in mind. What they have in their mind is the sales for the month, sales for the year, and the bottom dollar amount in mind. Now, some of you, this might not matter, might not be a big deal to you. Honestly, I would say it's just a little thorn in the side, so to speak, for wargaming to pull this stunt. And others of you, you might not care. Others, maybe you're a bit annoyed because you have been saving up doubloons and you wanted to be able to just pick up the ships for doubloons, because every year for the last few years since these ships have been offered and their black variants have always been available for doubloons, and this is the first year wargaming has decided, nope, we're not going to do that. Now, I'm assuming this is intentional. It'd be hard for me to think that this is not intentional, because there'd be a gross oversight to miss the fact that you have 4 ships missing in the black fleet for doubloons. It seems very intentional for wargaming to have done that this year. So, kind of sucks, but I guess it is what it is, if you will. Now, with these 4 ships, I'm not going to do a full kind of breakdown narrative on them. I want to keep this video short, sweet, and to the point. I think they're all great ships, these 4, if you're willing to spend real-life money rather than doubloons, since they're not offered for doubloons. The Jean Bart B is actually the ship I've been wanting to pick up the most. I was thinking maybe this year I might be interested in picking it up, but only if they did it in doubloons, because it would make it cheaper. But it's still, again, I wasn't really sure if I would go for it or not. But the fact that it's in cash value means I'm not even going to touch this ship. I'm not even going to consider buying the Jean Bart Black. So sucks for you, wargaming. But what you have here is a very effective French battleship. She can have good secondaries if you build her out for it. She's quite fun. I think she's one of Flambass's more favorite battleships in the game. So you can check out some of his content of playing the ship, or other commanders, YouTube WoW's content creators. Massachusetts Black is Massachusetts is my favorite premium battleship here in the game. She's quite awesome, in my opinion. She is just a lot of fun to play because of her 3 main strengths. Comes down to her repair party being a 40-second cooldown time. She's very strong, highly efficient, highly effective secondary batteries, and she's very hard to citadel. She has a very trollish citadel where it's a below waterline citadel, and you can typically only citadel Massachusetts with other enemy battleships or heavy cruisers at range. Otherwise, you're not going to citadel the Massachusetts up close and personal. So she's just a really fun battleship, and for any first time a newcomer in the game, if you like brawling battleships, you're really going to like the Massachusetts Black, in my opinion. For Alaska, this is a ship I also have. I also bought it for free XP like the Azuma. Alaska is a lot of fun here in the game. She has a lot of utility in being a battle cruiser. Her main strength comes to her main battery. She gets 9 305mm guns. You can citadel a lot of high-tier battleships and cruisers here in the game. She's got 10-kilometer radar. She's got a 5-kilometer hydroacoustic search. She has pretty effective AA. She's quite slender. If, let's say, for example, you have the Puerto Rico, you'd probably like playing Alaska. If you like playing Stalingrad, it plays a little different, but quite similar. You'd probably like playing Alaska. So I could easily recommend picking up Alaska Black here in the game. And then you have the Asashio. She's been in the game for a long time. What comes kind of with her big thing is her concealment. Before even building into it is 6.6, for you can get her down, I think it's like 5.5 or something. So really strong concealment. And then her deep water torps she gets 8 of, and she also gets a torpedo reload booster. The torpedoes hit hard because they're deep water torpedoes. Now granted, they can only hit battleships and cruisers. They can't hit cruisers, they can't hit destroyers, only battleships and aircraft carriers. and they do almost 21,000 damage. And this is at tier 8. This isn't like a tier 9 deep water torpedo destroyer, right? So her torpedoes are really effective, but again, her guns are going to be pretty weak. She gets 627mm guns that reload every 7.1 seconds. So keep that in mind. But these 4 ships are quite legendary, and they're quite really strong in the game. If you have questions about some of the other ships, just comment below. I don't have enough time to go into each and every one of them. There's some good ships here. There's also some duds, and I don't really want to make this video longer than necessary. So just keep in mind you can switch between either paying for the ship with real money or buy them for doubloons. The Captain's Choice section, you have the monochrome. It's a visual effect that changes the animation of destroying enemy aircraft carriers, battleships, cruisers, and destroyers in battle. No, it does not include submarines. It can be mounted on any ship. Once mounted, the enemy destruction effect is assigned to that ship. So if I were to mount this on, let's say, Salem. So the visual effect that changes the animation destroying enemy ships. So if the way I read this, if I'm in Salem, I blow up a Kosik, I'm going to see Kosik blow up with this kind of black and white smoke, the monochrome effect. It's going to cost you 10 of the Black Friday tokens. Otherwise, if you don't buy the containers for real life dollars, you'd have to spend at minimum $42 to get 10 of the Black Friday containers. You won't be able to pick that up. And it's not a big deal either. Now, one thing I can see coming in handy is if you wanted to purchase one of these 3 ships. So I'm losing my voice. You can pick up those Black Friday premium containers, and then this is where the coupon comes in. So it's a special Black Friday coupon providing a 30% discount for San Diego, Huron, or Dupleix. So keep that in mind. It's only tied to specific ships. You can only pick up 1 of each of these, and they range from 10 Black Friday tokens, 25 Black Friday tokens, and 50 Black Friday tokens. Otherwise, you have 6-point commanders you can pick up, whether they're for Japanese, German, American, and again, German. And then you also have Black Friday patch backgrounds here as well. So that being said, I think that's really going to bring cap the video out on the head. Just keep in mind, if you have the standard version of the ship, these rewards, that they'll show you what you will be able to pick up in the game if you have the standard version and you buy the Black Friday, or you buy the Black Friday and then you already have the standard version, or vice versa, that you'll be able to get some additional rewards and incentivizing you to pick up the Black Friday ships. So just know, if you're a newer player here in World of Warships, as I go ahead and give you my closing thoughts, this is just another money-making event for wargaming. It gives you the opportunity to pick up some ships that have been removed from the game, like these 4 ships, right, for real money, but not doubloons this year. There's copy and paste of their standard version of the ships. Just have a fancy, different permanent camouflage, and you get opportunity to pick up maybe some decent rewards, some sequential bundles, so on and so forth. So that brings the video to a close, a little over 30 minutes, but I hope you guys don't mind. Please use the timestamps below to skip to relevant parts for you. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment below. I or other players will probably be very happy to help you. So if you liked today's video, give a thumbs up. If you didn't, give a thumbs down. Subscribe if you want to see more. If you're subscribed, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. Until next time, take care.